What has happened to my DNS is broke. Why? What? Why is DNS broke? Name or service not known. All right, I want to see Vagrant global status. Where's that in my history? There it is. What do I have? All right, so I've got internet. Otherwise, this would have been fortunate. And no drop frames. All right, so it's not an internet thing, not a local network mumbo jumbo thing. There's the Vagrant free IPA server. There's the Vagrant authentication environment. Am I having an IP conflict between these two environments? Oh, I hope not. I shouldn't. I hope not. I want to open, but I want to open where I can disconnect. Actually, because it's already up, I think the option is there. One thing I don't like about VirtualBox is if you wanted to close the window, you want to close the window in order, but still have it running. You have to do things a very special way. And I'm not a fan of having to do things special ways. Because it's a Vagrant box, root will not work. But I can sudo. No, I don't have an IP conflict. That's right. 192.168.77 is the other one. All right. That's not a problem. Let's get out of here and right control and close you off. You're good. You're not a problem. You're a problem. But why are you a problem? Oh, I was not wanting to do this kind of debugging. Pardon me. Molecule destroy. Okay, that's good. You're destroyed. Molecule. Well, prepare, converge, it doesn't matter. Creating the molecule instance, so it should be cloning and creating a new box in VirtualBox. Box, there it is, right here. Default CentOS 7.5. That should be this guy that molecule is creating. Did we have a brief disconnect? I'm looking at my chat log. Welcome to the chat room. Why am I back in the chat room? That's odd. Hey, there it goes. Why were you having a problem before? That's very odd. Alright. That's all part of the DevOps territory. Alright, so we'll keep going. As soon as Automated Bits Corp role is finished, then we will have and then it will run the free IPA client role, and we should see whether or not this works. There we go. Here's the client on the IPA client package. And it barf. Unable to find IPA server to join. Well, that sounds familiar. Why? Why does it sound familiar? I know why. I don't like that I know why, but I know why. What? Why the sudden change? Why is the... Why do we have this sudden change in network? Why does networking hate me? Molecule login. Evolve 50.4. Ping 192.168.50.4. You are there. Name server 168.50.4. Well, NS lookup 168.50.4. Can't find what a-1 test.int. What? Did this thing crap out on me? That king of the DNS probably. Alright, NS up. Test IPA-1.int. Can't find. Oh no. It crashed. At least I think it crashed. Alright, systemctl list units. Where is it gonna? Actually, let's find failed. Linux. Okay. As far as this thing is concerned, all is well. And the SE Linux thing is something else. Eventually, I should probably look at it. But that day is not today. Oh, wait. Why is it activating? Right here, DNS key synced service. Well, and named is running. Named is running. Why? Why you failed? All right. Where do I go from here? Where does one go from here? So confused. No, I can't. Hold on. NS lookup. I thought there's. Ow. Alright, NS lookup -h. Oh, fine. Man, NS lookup. Interactive commands. Pop that. No. Is there a way for NS look? Do I have to be in interactive mode? I'm trying to see if I can force NS lookup to look at the force NS lookup to look at the free IPA server in order to verify if the name service is running or not. I know I can do it interactive. I was hoping to do it command line, but no such luck. I've already forgotten what that interactive command is. Server, domain, host, lookup information. Change the default server to domain. That keyword. Nope. Domain equals. Alright, I'm not spending a lot of time on this. What's the command? Google. Show me the way, Google. And let's look up set server. Set DNS server. I don't want Windows. I did Windows. On Linux. What? Google, you're losing your edge. Linux lookup. Open up DOS command window. Oh, that's great. Alright, here we go. Examples. And let's look up Microsoft.com. That's standard fare. Reverse DNS. Type. Query the MX record. Blah. Still, all available records. Query another DNS. By default, NS lookup will query the same DNS this is used. You could specify a custom DNS to query, however, by specifying in the command line. Oh. Well, that was not nearly as complicated as I thought it was going to be. NS lookup test a1.test.int 1.2.168.8.54. That's not good. Why you no work? You know what? This is why we have Vagrant. Destroy. Vagrant destroy. Vagrant up. Yes, I'm sure. When things go wrong, destroy, recreate. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Instead of going down rabbit holes of trying to find out WTF is going on with your problem, it's best to just go back to a clean slate. This is why we have automation. This is why DevOps is such an important thing. The downside, though, there is a downside, like most things. The downside, though, is that DevOps does require the time and effort cost up front. Most companies, unfortunately, tend to have the practice of pushing things off. And while I can understand why they do that, and it's a little bit, things go wrong, timelines get shifted, stuff happens, to put it politely. But at the end of the day, when you cut the corners, it's gonna come back to bite you. Whereas if you do the automation early and consistently, you're able to ideally help focus on the problems that you would rather be solving rather than the problems that just eat your time. So destroy, recreate, as I'm doing. The only other hard part is actually recognizing when to do it, admittedly. But as long as you catch yourself soon enough. I mean, I think this is a new record for me. It only took me an hour 18 minutes to come up with the idea. I laugh because an hour is a long time. But it's always worth it. Alright, free API server, install Havage, enable Havage, install free API top. The only downside is IPA does take a while to spin up. Alright, is there something else I can verify a couple things while that is doing its thing? Let's just do molecule destroy. because they'll need to be spun back up once IPA server's running again. And then I don't want to wait. I do not want to wait. What can we do about that? There is something we can do about that. So the plan of action was we were going to finish etcd. As soon as etcd is confirmed to be working and finished, we're going to start looking at the actual big boy components of OpenStack. For a minimal deployment, you need the identity service. So actually, we're going to elemental PQ. Okay. So we're going to look at Queens. The Rocky release, last I heard, was not ready. Well, it's still in its early phase. I don't think it's released yet. But Queens is a good start. The nice thing is Rocky, there's not much configuration changes between OpenStack, at least for the majority of just getting things to work. So if it turns out Rocky is ready, we just update the OpenStack repositories in CentOS and go from there. So let's look at Queens. So the minimal components that is needed, aside from the prerequisites, which etcd is the last of them, is the identity service, which is Keystone. Literally anything and everything has to run through Keystone before any action is taken on the part of the cluster. And then here we have the image service, Glance. Glance, I mean, image service speaks for itself. So you have predefined templates, and they are queued and ready to be cloned whenever you want to spin something up, and that is stored inside Glance. Finally, you have the compute service, or the compute nodes, that's using Nova. Network service, which is Neutron. And then ideal scenarios, which I will be doing, is putting the dashboard in, which is Horizon. And finally, the block storage service, Cinder. But first, we can start looking at Keystone. Yep, running the FreeIPA installer. That will take a bit. Here's the Keystone installation. We are doing Red Hat and CentOS. Here's the abstraction. Identity service overview. So in much more, it's in many more words. It just says the same thing I'm saying. And you can sync up the identity service with other user management systems such as LDAP, which we will eventually get to, but not in this session. This is a ways down the road, mostly because they make it sound easy, but it's really not, as far as linking over to LDAP. The plan of action, when we get to that point, is there will be so FreeIPA is going to be my LDAP. I'm going to go from FreeIPA up to a service that an upstream service. Red Hat calls it Red Hat SSO. The upstream service is called Keycloak. From Keycloak, it goes over to another service, which name slips my mind at the moment. That converts the information over to SAML, which is what OpenStack Keystone works with, and then finally authenticates against Keystone. Those four services make up the ability to ideally also enable single sign-on with OpenStack. We will find out when we get there. In the meantime, I will keep Keystone, I will have Keystone stood up independently, and will also be We'll also be keeping the users kept within Keystone in the near future until I'm at the point where I can deal with Keycloak. And that's the nice thing about putting all this in configuration management. In my case, Ansible, is so that when that time comes, I can do it as code, and if it breaks, I can back it out. To an extent, it'll get most of it, but the tricky thing is that unless you're so there is one caveat with configuration management, which is unless you specify or tell configuration management to get rid of something, if it puts it in there and then later on you take it out, unless you specifically tell it to take it back out, it's just going to leave it alone. Not the most cleanly, but it's also not the worst. The nice thing is that with this automation, even though my cluster is going to be on physical hardware, I should be able to destroy, recreate relatively simple. So let's look at the prerequisites for Keystone. So they are going to create a database, Keystone, and create a Keystone user, granting privileges. Then they're going to install OpenStack Keystone HTTPD and mod WSGI. Configure, populate the identity service, which we'll want to do once, and we want to make that item potent. So we're going to need to have some way for Ansible to say it's, or figure out that it's been done already. Initialize Furnet key repositories. That is relatively new, but looks straightforward. Bootstrap the identity service, which I might be able to do with a Ansible module. Configure HTTP, and finally finalize the installation. So, so the approach that I'm taking, just so that you're aware that as I'm looking at this, is so we have a SQL, a OpenStack SQL role, so we can add this section, the create database and the access to Keystone database, as part of that as part of that specific role. And then this, from this point down, installing and configuring Keystone itself will actually go inside the Keystone role. Now, knowing OpenStack a bit more, this database stuff tends to happen a lot for every component, but you don't necessarily want every component all the time. If it's just for yourself, you could probably get away with not having to do this, but I try to be as agnostic as possible and make it so that I try to code so that I'm not the sole user. A couple reasons for that. One is so that I can eventually push this code out and people can then use it for however they're set up, however they want to set up their stuff. The other reason is partially for the challenge. But the challenge comes with benefits, not only for my own personal growth, but also for it makes for better, cleaner code. Whereas if you're hard coding things and doing things a very specific way, in the future it becomes very hard to decouple that, fix it if something goes wrong, so on and so forth. So, and that's why it again takes longer, but it's the investment up front rather than the investment you have to spend for fixing it later. So let's check back in real quick with IPA installer. It finished, and hopefully, if we do molecule prepare, you will work. Vagrant SSH. My downside to destroying this is I lost the command I was going to use. Oh, you did it again. Why are you doing this? Why are you suddenly saying unreachable? Could not resolve. Why are you trying to resolve a host name? Install Python for Ansible unreachable. Why? Oh, wait a minute. Is this? No, this should not be trying to do DNS this early. So this particular step is strictly to make sure if Python is installed on the client ahead of time. If Python is not properly set up on the server, Ansible doesn't know how to talk. Just make sure that's working. And if Ansible can't talk, that kind of defeats the purpose of what we're doing. So, let me poke at this prepare. Failed to connect to the host via not resolve host names. This feels like it's trying to. I really don't know. All right, that's debugging module itself, and I don't want to do that. Let's try it again. When in doubt, try again. Ah, come on. Oh, why do I feel like something horribly broke? I don't know what that would be though. It's with the global status. Give me vagrant global status. Everything's running. Oh, wait. Oh. I'm being silly. I know what I'm doing. Oh, okay. All right. Good thing to know about Molecule. Here, let me pull this up to make it easier to see. Molecule has an order of things that you need to do. First, it needs to create, and then ideally after that, you would also prepare, and then converge, and so on and so forth. It's trying to prepare without the instances already being created, which in my book is a why do you not have that intelligence? But as an asterisk at the bottom of said book, whatever. this is something that I've had to learn quite frequently, and I've said a lot at my work is not my circus, not my monkeys. Um, within reason. So I could spend the time to go and fix Molecule to fix that, but it's small enough that it's not any skin off my nose. But maybe I'll look at it later. I might look at it later. Be nice to submit some stuff to some open source projects. Get that GitHub rep. All right, so now we're actually creating a Molecule instance. Oh boy, I was. Whew. Excitement never ends. All right, while that's creating, or not, that's fine. It just did it. I don't mind fast. I don't mind it doing fast. All right. Set up the repos, installing the NMCLI so we can configure the network. This usually takes a little bit, but not horrible. Here's network manager lib. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. like to do while it's doing this is, what's my computer doing? I just wish I could. I do wish that Linux had um, a hard drive activity chart, much like what Windows has. I will give Windows kudos for having that. I'm a little baffled as to why Linux doesn't have it. If Linux does have it, and you know of a package, please send it my way. I would love to check that out. I'm always looking at these bar charts. Just I'm fascinated by lines. All right. Hey, it ran the client installer. Yes. All right. So if I come back to IPA, I think it's IPA get those. Oh, I need to be KNet admin. There's password. Try it again. No. There's a command in here. There's a command in here where I can find out or just get a list of registered hosts. And, or a get host, I should do this. Type get. Oh, type grep get. Host. It's not here. All right, fine. I'll scroll. Make me use of mouse. Host. Go host. Disable. Host add. Display information about a host. Host find. Host find. Is that what it was? Right. Host IPA. Host find. There we go. That's what it was. Okay. Awesome. Next. So here we go. Client 1 registered. And just to make sure, what did, ns lookup client-1.test.int. It has multiple IPs, it should be there, and it's there. Yes. All right. As I mentioned before, the one downside is there's a 10.0 address that is not ideal in the long run. Because, well, for a test environment, doesn't matter. For a production environment, why not? Why not have the IP address? Because the idea is that IPA is going to be the center of everything in that regard. So we should actually be good. Bring this back over here. And now for the moment of truth. Molecule converge. etcd, do your thing. Be happy. Figure start. Better than a drama show, right? All right, journal. Oh no, login. Molecule login. Let's just sudo, get it over with. I don't want to sudo everything. Never sudo on a production system. Ideally, if you can swing it, never have SSH open on a production system, but beggars can't be choosers. Reason being is security purposes fully. If you have things in configuration management, most of your problems end up coming from not your code, but from the humans who get into it, or not into the code, but into the server. That's why we have test environments. Unable to start. Right. Journal ctl-xe. Failed to start etc server. There it is, and there it is. And find the local name. Lesai. Pardon my temporary French. Alright, vi etc cd.conf. A couple things. All right, first where's the name? There's the name. All right, .test.int. Let's give that a shot. Systemctl start etcd. Failed. Same reason. Let's test. Let us test that DNS is working on this machine. Int. I got multiple IPs. That's what I want. All right. The other possibility is that these IPs, since they're NAT, are not going to work because the ports are blocked. Oop. .50.254. Let's copy that. Oop. Yep. Copy. Come down here. Oop. Oop. Undo. Undo. I didn't want to delete that. All right. DT colon insert blah. Let's come in the next IP. DT colon insert blah. Colon insert blah. And finally, DT colon insert blah. For those who are not entirely familiar with Vim, Vim has nice little shortcuts. This one that I was using in particular is so DT colon. So what I was doing was from where my cursor is, delete until colon, which will delete up to but not including the colon symbol, which is great for changes like these. The other one that probably would have been a little bit more efficient is if I'd done a regex search and replace. My regex is not great and would probably waste more time than it's worth. Let's start etcd, same thing. Couldn't find local name client-1.test.int. etcd, you're really getting on my nerves. All right. What is the problem here? On the plus side, my DNS problem's not a thing. On the downside, it didn't help. All right. Oh wait, what was the other thing? What was the thing I discovered earlier? It was actually in this session. What was it? The initial cluster. Someone was saying that the initial cluster here should be the same host name as the etcd name defined above. Try it. Start. Nope. It just fails so quickly. And there's the etcd initial cluster. So it got the new value. It just didn't matter. I am stumped. Because I've Googled for this and nothing I'm seeing is working. But apparently it happens a lot. All right. Let me do this. All right. So, so I'm on camera and I have a little bit of a platform. Won't go far. I don't have many people. But etcd, if any of you from etcd are watching, Please fix this error. It needs to be a lot more helpful. This is not helpful and is aggravating. And every time I look around, there's like 5 different potentials, and so far none of them worked. All right, rant over. All right, we want to do. I have no choice but to reference the almighty Google. Couldn't find local name in the initial research on. Test cluster is failing. What's going on here, Puppet? Two containers, blah blah blah. Da, 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 da. Can you send the higher values you have for etcd and this run needs the no set and force 0 to fit. Oh. Oh. That's probably it, isn't it? Alright. I think I have an idea as what's going on. SE Linux is turned on. SE status. It's enabled. And there's no policy for etcd in there. So, in theory, if I were to nope, SE config, SE, oops, SE Linux config. If I turn SE Linux from enforcing to permissive and reboot, it will probably work. Oh man, why did I not think of that before? I always forget about SE Linux and it drives me up the wall. I want SE Linux on. It's secure. It helps prevent, you know, if the machine ever gets compromised, it prevents the user who's compromising the system from being able to go somewhere else, and going where they shouldn't be, even farther than they already are. So I want it on. I want to be security conscious, but I don't know SE Linux as much as I need, or as much as I should say. All right. If it auto started 34 seconds ago, so it just did it. Journal. Really? That didn't help? How did... I'm thinking. I'm not thinking very well. SE Linux didn't help. Alright. Let's make sure there's not another thing. For example, firewall. Do I have IP tables or firewall D on here? No. No, I don't. So the firewall's not on. The firewall's not on. SE Linux, well, SE status. Oh, why are you still on? I turned you off. SE Linux config. Oh, no, that's fine. It's on, but should not be enforcing. It should be reporting. Message. They're going to be demessage or audit. think. Oh, that's a mess. That's an outright mess. What am I reading? Ham, root, yada yada. Wow, there's a lot of info here. I have never actually looked in this thing before. etcd unit etcd result failed. Wait, it's swapping back and forth between failed and success. What are you doing? Oh, stop is success. Okay, that would do it. Yes. That was stop, start. There was a start success. I see you. I see you right here. Start, result, success. And then you stopped. What was that? Oh, that's a timestamp I don't know what to do with. Let me check far log messages. No, I don't want to be recording. Alright. Go back one. Less message. Go. He's doing your thing again. Starting. Blah blah blah. Couldn't find. You know what? Let's guarantee. It shouldn't be, but let's guarantee SE Linux is on the way. Disabled. Reboot. Login. Nah, let me in. Be booted already. Why are you not booted? Oh, you're up. There you go. Just bad timing. All right. SE status disabled. No questions asked. System CTL status etcd. 17 seconds ago, failed again. Restart. Sudo all CTL XE. Same exact failure. I don't know what to do. Really don't. These suggestions would be helpful. I'm having just one heck of a time. I'm stumped. I don't. Alright. Give me a sec. I want to. I just need a brief moment. All right. What do we do with this? I just Google. That's really all I got. I don't know why etcd is failing like the more frustrating thing is that this has not happened before. The last time I deployed OpenStack, something is different. Aside from Ansible, Ansible's not really doing anything special. etcd is just unhappy. Why is etcd unhappy? All right. That's not helping. We're not a 3 node, but what the heck? I'll try anything. Machines, K, etcd. Initial cluster token. Where's his name? Where's the name of? Oh, wait, initial. Oh, that's what that value means. Okay, but there should still be an initial cluster name. Where'd it go? Yeah, etcd name. There's no. It doesn't pass it etcd name here. Output. That's all what I'm having. Google that desperate to try and give me an answer. All right. I don't need certificates. All right, let's do stand up etcd. Specifically CentOS. That's the same thing as before. I don't need that. I'll go ahead and open that up just in case. CentOS 7. You know what? This would be this could be something to look at. How are they? How is this person configuring etcd? Is that right? That's right. Name is Ansible hostname. That's what I did. Listen peer Ansible ETH0 IPv4 address, as well as localhost, but okay. Initial advertise, initial cluster, advertise client URLs. Interesting, he's using HTTPS. 2379 and 2380. Okay. Where they're using there's the PEMs. which would be nice to have, but I don't want to enter security into the equation right this now. Just want this to work. Advertise client. Oh, setting up. Let's look at this. Actually, never found out. Creating an OpenShift etcd cluster. Send CD. There you go. All right, what are you doing? What secrets can you reveal? Data dir. Here, client. They're using the IP address. Interesting, they all do the 127. Initial advertise, IP, initial clusters, the IP. Cluster state. Right, there's the etcd name. Okay. Beans config after first restart. etcd already initializes member before starting as etcd member. Really? etcd's gonna make you redeem. Okay. Sure. Listed and advertises localhost dead. That means you can't expand it. Binaries. You know, if this works, I'm going to be a little upset. Ooh. I'm going to try their localhost suggestion or their localhost thing. So let's take a look at Etsy. There. Let's change this localhost. Localhost. The downside, the primary downside to this is it is going to be harder. Well, there's two things. I'm hoping this is not a personal sub-environment problem. Oop, that. And is more of a well, let me take a step back. Get in there first. I'm hoping that what this is not a server or a private environment problem with the way I've stood things up. And it's potentially something else, but I'm at wit's end. If it turns out to be something like that, at the very least, it should work in a real environment. It didn't work. Fine. something. Okay. Oops. Let's see. Nope, 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 nope. Var lib d. Oh. Okay. Start. No. Couldn't find local name client. Name. The name. Same thing. This is determined to not work. Gotta be something. There's gotta be something I'm missing. Couldn't find local name. Initial cluster. Good IP. Where's the name? Oh, it's probably just setting itself. That's fine. Or the actual behavior. Update verbal. Giving container. Next successfully started to deconnecting. The cluster fails because of certs, but that's easy. Oh, because you're using HTTPS. Okay. Here I am. This is usually set to the machine ID via an environment variable in the service unit. It looks like you may have a drop-in overriding that host name, but not sure. I think the mismatch then happens. We can still reference M. It's a container-specific problem. Oh, wait. Oh. I think okay, okay. I might have a solution. I was being a silly filly. Where's the set? Where's the set? Initial cluster. Here it is. Equals. Set this to client dash start. Yes. Oh, I figured that out. Oh. Oh. All right. That. All right. Now that I know what's going on there, that makes the error now makes more sense. The error is fine. It should still be made better, but it makes it's fine. Oh, that is so annoying. It's less about the DNS, it's more about just making sure that the name you specified in the config matches the name in the cluster. Ugh. All right. This is actually pretty fixable. This is very fixable. And very easily fixable. Let's do this. Ansible name. Ansible host name. Take this, put it to there. And what did I change here? Oh, nope. I want that. Okay. Save. Alright. Molecule destroy. Molecule converge. Need to also make sure this is deleted. Not. IPA commands less. I'm looking for what? Oh, all right. IPA help commands. Go. I want to delete the host in IPA. Host. Like host dash del. Yeah, host dash del. Host dash del client dash one dot test dot int. Okay, delete the host. Let's comment these out first to guarantee that is not a DNS thing. Actually, no, it should not be a DNS thing. And run that. I hope this works. Please work. Make this bigger. Create molecule instance. We're still creating. Oh, there you go. All right, applying the automated bits. Set up, okay, automated bits roll still going. Set up the repos, install the NMCLI. All right, fingers crossed. Do it. Got a karaoke in my head. I wish to share it, but I'm not a good singer. You don't want me singing. All right. Install MCLI. Resolve. Set up the core. Oh, no. Premature. Premature. Hold it. Hold it. Yes. All right. All right. Molecule. Verify. Let's run my tests. Should be all good. All good. Yes. All right. Now for the ultimate test is molecule destroy, followed up by molecule test. So run it through the complete suite of tests. I'm trying to remember. So it will well, actually, I don't need destroy because it will do it for me. Molecule test runs the entire scenario, the entire default scenario. If I create another scenario, I can define it, or just tell it what the name is to run, or say all of them. What test will do is the order that I've put things in is it will create the instance, well, destroy if it's destroy if needed, create the instance, prepare the instance. If you define prepare, which I have here, it will converge. It will test for item potency. It will run the tests, and if all that succeeds, this thing is good to go. Oh, it will also check for linters, which is really well, multiple linters. It will check for Ansible YAML lint. It will check for the Python test lints, as well as one other one. Let's get that going. See, one of them barfed. YAML lint. Too many blank lines. Comment out. Indented like content. Sorry, too many mice again. All right. This is easy. This is easy in comparison. I know what's right. All right. All right. Molecule default prepare.xml. Prepare.xml. Here we go. Oh, well, I don't need these, so that's gone. Delete. Was that it? I think that was it. Yep. Yeah, so it will do, stay up. It will do the YAML lint, Flake 8, and the Ansible lint on the all your files. All right. I am going to work with the assumption that the test will succeed, and all this good. I will come back and test it, and only when I verified that the test worked, I will commit the change. We'll come back to the thing I've moved on to. The thing that I want to move on to is actually Keystone itself. More specifically, right, nope, that's still etcd. Leave that open until I know it's done. Right here. So I broke it down a bit before. I'll go over it again real quick. So I already have an OpenStack SQL role. I will add these two steps to that role to create the Keystone database and to create the Keystone user. Then this section from here on will actually go into the Keystone role itself, install, configure, initialize, and then we can configure Keystone. Done. Or the initial part of Keystone done. The next part would be setting up these additional initial things, the domain, project users, roles. We will add that as part of Keystone. No. I will not add that to Keystone. What do I want to do with that? I will worry about it when I get there. All right, so let's start looking at the database here. So I don't need this anymore. Get that out. Ha! And etcd was successful. So do just a quick breakdown again. So here, where'd it go? Here's the test matrix. So here's the default scenario: lint, destroy, dependency, syntax, create, prepare, converge, idempotence, side effects, verify, and destroy. And here we can see it running through it. So here's the lint. All this is the lint. And it tells you which scenario it's doing, because it can run in parallel. Here it destroyed. It checked and destroyed anything. Here's dependency, which I have nothing there. Don't really quite have a good idea as to how to use that, but I will. Oh, if your cookbook actually has dependencies, you want to define it there in the requirements metadata. Which actually I don't think that. Oh no, requirements.txt. No, not requirements.txt. That's for the my Python virtual environment. I'm gonna have to look into that because Keystone should have the requirements file. Actually, so here's the syntax check. Followed up with the create. Followed up with prepare. And to give you a quick look as to what prepare is doing, it's actually right here. There's two pre-tasks. One is to make sure that Python is installed on the machine so that Ansible works just fine. The next one is to run setup, which will gather the metadata or the facts so that I can call upon it, such as Ansible hostname, etc. The main idea is so that the automated bits corp role uses that. Uses the metadata, so it needs to be done then, not later. And then, as you can see, it will run the automated bits corp role. This is a role that every host is going to get, setting up the repositories, DNS, some networking things here and there, etc. And then that's prepare. So here's it running through prepare. And I've already validated that automates core is idempotent and whole 9 yards. It went through the same process as this. Goes and converge. Checks that it's idempotent. Side effects, my understanding is kind of like if you're testing a cluster scenario, kill a node, what happens, and make sure that it stayed alive. I'd like to look into that, but that's going to be a bit. And then finally verify, where it's running test infra. Molecule can also run, if I remember right, inspec and one other one. Cannot remember what the one other one is. I chose test infra because it's Python and I know I can get access to the more technical things if I wanted to write more complicated tests, such as since in the test scenario it's like here's default values, did those default values actually propagate down to where I needed them? And then finally, now that it's validated all that, it will destroy, clean up after itself, and everything is all good. All right, so now that we validated this, let us commit all of our changes, all of them. They're all staged. Okay, and the message will be. You know what? Actually, I don't like doing it in as nice as Visual Studio Code is for this. For offering it, I tend to be more multi-line verbose in my commit messages. I'm not a one-liner commit message guy. I just really am not. I want to be there's a bit of formatting, and if everything's on a single line, it's whenever I come to read it later. etcd its status. Oops. Status. Everything's staged. Get at. Wait, I don't need to get at. Everything's there. Get commit. We got a. etcd role working. Tests written and verified. I just thought of something. I forgot. Oh wait, because I destroyed and recreated, the SE Linux was turned back on. So yes, SE Linux works. Yes. I want to be security conscious. I'm trying not to turn off SE Linux unless I have to. And so far I have not needed to, which is great. Though I might find out when I actually start integrating some of these together. Anyway, tests were written and verified. What else? Let's see. So defaults main, molecule default. That's the test. That's the tasks. Here's the template. Will not work with multiple hosts and clustering. To be done. I eventually want to add it, but I'm just trying to get a basic deploy going. Its status. Let's also verify. I have my own command that I wrote. Git with an E. Everything is good. There's the keystone. So what my alias here, get status, does is get dash status is it will go through every folder in the current working directory and simply print off the actual git space status. And if there's anything not committed, it will show up in the form of the list here that Keystone has. Since I'm moving across all different projects, I like to make sure I'm keeping up with committing things as often as possible. Speaking of, what did oh, I did do a change there. That change was the all IPs, which actually turns out I don't need, and therefore can go away. Get client, get reset, head. On stage changes after reset. Oh wait, I didn't do hard. Dash dash hard. And nothing. Okay. Why did molecule env change? Oh, that's name host. Never mind. Name host is tentative. I don't know if I want it, but I don't want to get rid of it yet. Disable network manager. Oh, did I not commit that? Oh, that's my bad. Those should have gone in. OpenStack doesn't want network manager, so it must be disabled. Let me verify. First source the virtual Python virtual environment. Then we'll have molecule and Ansible available to us. Molecule test. Let's make sure that's all working. If that's working, I'll commit. Everything's good. Also verify. Just verify the code and test real quick. Should not be up here. Yeah, it's a pretty simple, straightforward module. Nothing overly fancy or I don't know why I keep calling it module. Role. Pretty straightforward. The code is there. It should work. Most of this is waiting on just creating the Vagrant instance. All right. While that's running, that should work. Keystone. Oh. Just as I'm about to get over to Keystone, everything pops up. Do I really need to do the prepare stuff for that module? I may not need the prepare stuff for this. This is over. All I'm doing is disabling the network manager. I don't need to install anything. I don't need to set up network. Yeah. Let me comment that out. Nope. Go back. Fingers. Should still work, but better safe than sorry before I commit a problem. Everything is working. I'll run this one more time. Well, that takes forever again. Comment out indented like content. 12.3. 12. Oh. Sure. Yes? It wasn't that big. Alright, if that works, delete the comment, save it, commit it. Good. Alright. OpenStack SCT for API client. Cache SQL. Oh, nice. Thanks very much. Oh, sorry, missed your name. Hold on. KSpec624. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome to the club. It's a very small club so far, but I think it's a great club. If you'd like, feel free to comment. If you have questions about what I'm doing, feel free to ask them. I'll be more than happy to explain. Just welcome and thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. All right. And then if anyone else is actually, if there's more people in the area who wanna or who are watching and would like to ask, feel free. Don't be shy. I like to think I'd like to try and turn this into a learning experience for all. I'm being silly now. All right. That should have stayed. I was overzealous in my uncommenting. I'll just put that there just to keep the linter happy. Linter should be happy. Let's try it again. All right. Linter was happy. All right, we're good. Let that do its thing. Let us come back to where's my OpenStack SQL? There we go. All right. Let's put over here. We want to add these two steps to our OpenStack SQL. They're OpenStack specific. I don't know. Sorry about that. My Alexa got a little overzealous. It usually responds to computer. No, did you trigger? Stop. All right, a little distraction. All right, let's get these two steps and we should be good. Not OpenStack. Ansible actually has a module specifically for talking with Maria and MySQL. In my case, I'm using Maria, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. Let's clean up these remnants. Let's look up what that module is. Make sure we're getting it right. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Let's put this in so that we can come back to it later. first things first, we want to write a test. That test, sorry, is going to first verify that there is a Keystone database. It will check MySQL for a Keystone database. And it will check the Keystone privileges to make sure that the Keystone user can indeed look at and access the Keystone database itself. It's not going to check if it can actually access itself. It's going to assume that the privileges can do what it needs to do. What it will check, however, is that since there's only one way the privileges get set up, it'll just verify that the privileges are what we want, and it's that. So the hardest part about all this is figuring out the proper way to get test infra, aka Python, to be able to test things or to go do the test. Thankfully, we actually have a little bit of reusable code here. So as you can see right here, under test SQL anonymous user removed, I am running the MySQL command. I'm running a SQL query, and based on that output, I decide whether or not the test was successful. Because the command outputs are going to be always a string, I need to make sure, depending on what I'm actually testing against, I'll need to either convert to an integer, as I did here in this particular case, and then do the comparison. If it's true, the test pass. Or in the case of up here, it's not actually here on this file, but there have been other cases that I will go and do a assert not, and then the value which says that if this is pass, if this is not true. Otherwise, assert will assume that the value must be true or must evaluate to true. So first, let's test SQL. Oh, OpenStack SQL Keystone DB exists. I like to be a little thorough in the naming of my test, so that when I go back to look at it, I'm not confused. Time wears away at all things, my memory included. Command equals host.run. We are going to run the MySQL command. It's okay to have the password here in plain text. The idea is this is going to be the default password for running those tests and should be changed when the role itself is actually used. And we actually test to make sure, up here we had tested that the password gets changed. So next, so in order to keep with PEP 8 standards, which I try to do, and I'm messing that up, hold on. I try to keep up with PEP 8 standards for a couple of reasons. The one that has been a contentious point, seemingly, both in the internet, even at some of my workplaces, is the 79 character line per line limit. The reason that I push to keep within that bound is not because I'm one of those weird people where I program everything on a VT1000, which is honestly the main reason why that limit was put in the first place. Well, not Python specifically, but why it keeps getting pulled into various coding practices. The reason why I keep up with it is actually case in point right here. So there's only so wide this is going to go. I could turn on word wrapping. I don't like to. It gets confusing, and that's my personal preference, and that's fine. if nothing else, so when I have multiple windows side by side, even if I have multiple text next to each other, I can read the complete thing all next to each other. I don't have to do any side to side scrolling, just the vertical scrolling, which I have anyway, so I might as well use it. The other reason is, in addition to just general practice, is for code reviews. When you are going through a code review, you're going to have code side by side, previous versus next, or previous versus what the change is going to. That's going to happen no matter what. And it's going to be compounded by the fact that usually you're probably working in a small window like this. Even if it's a full screen, the point remains you have code side by side. And if you're having to do side by side or left to right scrolling, it's just a pain. And my statement of up down scrolling versus left right scrolling comes back into play. So that's my thought and that's my preference. I'm sure the internet can argue it 6 ways from Sunday, 8 if we had that many days. But my belief is that if we can keep to a standard that most people agree on and makes it easier to read, the multi-line thing is, like the compacting of strings is negligible in my mind. Long scrolls side by side I tend to lose track of pretty easily, but that's me. All right, so let's finish up this statement. So we log in. There was a I don't know what, I honestly don't know what this SSE is doing. It was code I found. not the best reason to use it, but it does the job. I just realized something. What I should be doing, we'll come back to this in a sec. What I should do, that was successful, is I want to OpenStack SQL source, then molecule converge. To make sure I'm getting the output I want and to know what Python is going to get so I can figure out the best way to test for it appropriately, let's just stand up an instance and actually run the command. The idea is since it won't exist, we get the value for what the value is going to be when it doesn't exist, and we test for the opposite. And ideally it should be 0 or 1, worst case scenario, of some sort. While that's standing up, disable network manager. Sorry for the constant jumping around, but want to keep things moving so that you're not watching me watch the screen waiting. That's boring. And by all means, if I'm going too fast, got any questions, feel free to post them. I will explain to the best of my ability. Especially, I've got a somewhat specialized setup in the way that I'm doing things, but I think it works pretty well. All right, so I staged them. That's all good. Okay, commit. Actually, this looks like an initial commit as well. So initial commit, working role, the tables, network manager, nothing special. And the tests written and verified. Right, quit. Status, all good. Let's check all of them. Nothing I didn't already know about. Molecule env. Oh no, molecule env is not the problem. Name host, that's fine. Eventually, I want to get these others, some of these others under git control, but I'm not too concerned. Those are not necessarily being used for what I'm doing here. All right, so it converged. Let's log in. Um, okay, I just wanted to make sure that the color contrast on the left side was is good. Um, if you have a hard time seeing, please also let me know, and I can do what I can to fix that. Actually, let me do this right now. Tmux. I'm hoping this is helping, not hurting. Let me know. Let's source again, and then molecule login. There we go. MySQL -u root -p password. So diabolically simple. Nobody will be able to guess it. And then let's just start with a -e. This will be. Oh wait, I actually know of a good way to do this. We can do the same thing as the default DB removed. The only difference being is instead of failing if it's not found, no, instead of failing if it is found, we fail if it's not found. So we can actually take this. That up. Put that in. Change this to Keystone. Let me verify the web real quick. Yes, Keystone. And this should equal 0. Yes, it should equal 0 because when it tries to use the database should be found. Molecule verify. This should fail because the Keystone database is not made yet. And you fail exactly where I expect. Okay. Yep. Command failed, therefore it came back with a return code of 1. We needed a 0 to, which means it was able to access the database fine. Unknown database Keystone tested what it did, or tested what it needed to do. So now that we've got the test written and failing properly, let's write up the code to get it to pass. Pass. All right, so we've got several files here. Let's clean up some of these open ones. We don't need all these open. We want that one. All right. So I'm gonna add. What am I gonna do? Install configure SQL. Let's do this. I'm going to write a single include task. I'm going to create a task file geared specifically towards configure Keystone. Here we go. Create the file. File. Configure Keystone.yaml. And as all YAML start, triple dash. It should be dash space K. Let's put a comment. Create the Keystone database and user options. Oops. And then dash name. Let's first create the Keystone database. Now, full circle back over to the Firefox session here. We get to find database modules. There we go. Miscellaneous, InfluxDB, MSQL, MySQL. SQL should work for Maria as well. Let's remove MySQL data to the remote host. Below requirements are needed on the host that executes this module. MySQL DB, MySQL. So more than likely that will barf at me when I actually go to converge. Excuse me, and then I'll be able to put in the database requirements. Actually, shouldn't have done it here. Remove DBs. Yeah, MySQL DB. So the requirement should already be fulfilled. Because I have here install configure SQL right here. I put in these I put in this prerequisite to make sure that when we got to that template, it was, or to that module, Ansible module, that we were good. All right, so now MySQL underscore DB name Keystone state is present, and it should probably need to know how to log in. Excuse me. And up here, they mentioned it briefly down here. Both login password and login user are required. If none are present, the module will attempt to read the credentials from myCNF and finally fall back to using MySQL default login of root with no password. At this point, root should have a password. And with root now having a password, we now need to pass said password. So default of localhost login host is good, so we don't need to specify that. We do need to specify login password, which should be the password I have defined here in the defaults, which when this module is being used, a user should be overwriting. There's that. And the login user, the user then password, the login user root. All right, that should work. Let's sure it works. Converge. There it goes. All of this should be idempotent up until we get to that. There it is, made a change. All right, now that we've made the change, let's verify, and our test should pass. Passed, yes. TDD for the win. Test-driven development for those not in the know. I personally do prefer the test-driven development approach, especially for stuff like Ansible, or for configuration management in general, where you don't want to inadvertently undo some of your work, and when you do, you would want to know about it sooner rather than later. That's why you make small incremental changes, so that only a small incremental change is the cause of the problem. All right. We want to manage the MySQL user. And removes the user from the MySQL database. That's our next step. So back over here, we've created the database. Now we need to grant the proper access to the Keystone database. And there's two we have to do. We have to do Keystone at localhost and Keystone at %. So below here, create a new task. Create Keystone user and privileges. And for reference only, I will copy this here, paste it there. And there. There. All right. Again, strictly for reference only. That will go away as soon as I've written this. Need to double check something. Okay. All right, so let us see. Oh, I had a bit of a train derailment in my head. All right, MySQL user. And let's take an example from, come on, down below. Removes anonymous user, removes all anonymous users, create database user with name Bob and password with all database privileges. That looks like a good one to base off of. All grant. Create database user Bob and password with all database privileges and with grant option. Let's do that one. So the user name will be Keystone. The password should actually be getting defined by the user calling the role. And this will be Keystone password. And before we forget, this is a new default. We will set it here. Actually, I want a different name. DB underscore Keystone DB password. Back here and change it. DB password. And this will be password. But if we actually implement this in production, it should get changed. Name, password. Remember, this is what I want. Privilege is star.star all grant. And oh wait, this should actually be Keystone.star all grant. And the state is present. Now there is one other thing that needs to get added to this, and that is this guy here, localhost or %. So that, I believe, should be the login host. Here it is, host part of this MySQL username. So let's put it right below the privileges. We'll put host, and we'll make this localhost. Let's fix this because we need to do this twice. One for localhost. Create Keystone. Sorry. Excuse me. Create localhost Keystone user and privileges. Let's copy this because there should only be one change between the two. And that will be hoping, I'm hoping against all hope that Ansible doesn't barf on that, otherwise I'll figure out something else. The host is %. It's not happy with that. I'm not surprised it's not happy with that. Let's put quotes. That should be good. And with that, I just realized I did not write my test. Ugh. Oh, okay. For now, comment this out. This should be good, so I don't need that reference anymore. Actually, I don't need to comment this out. Just need to delete this. The reason I don't need to comment it out is because I will ensure the verify gets run first before I converge. And then when the converge, I'll pick up the change. Here's my test. 2 spaces for the lint. Test, OpenStack, SQL, Keystone, user, priv, localhost. Well, should be able to test both here. Post. All right. Let's figure out the command we want to run. Command. Look at our let's log in. Nope. Log in. Excuse me. And the last MySQL command is not there. -u root -p password -e. What did I use last time I checked a password or checked a user? So there's two things that need to be checked. One is that the user exists. We can do that with this command relatively easily. So this is actually going to be our SSE. Select this. Oh, don't need the quote. Select one from MySQL.user where user equals, that was anonymous, we want Keystone. Close that, run it. So, wait a minute. Hold on. That's not right. That should not be returning. Oh, no, I'm okay. Yeah. So this SQL command actually will show or give the number of times the query was found. That's what the select exist does, is that it will be unique. So it will either be 1 or 0. If there's more than one of the user, it should only find, or it shall only report 1. Actually, the select one will do that. So let me tweak this a bit. Because ultimately what we want to see is the user twice. Those two entries are going to show up as two separate users. One for localhost, one for %, pretty much anything logging in. Let's get rid of the select exists. I'm not familiar with a lot of this by SQL, so I'm kind of fumbling a bit here. Let's just say root. So there we found 1. Okay, so it's printing a 1. Wait, select 1. What does select 1 do? Learning opportunity. Select 1 SQL. Select 1 from. Okay. Even though it's Microsoft SQL, the logic should still be the same. We'll return a column of 1s for every row in the table. You could use it with a where statement to check whether you have an entry for a given key, such as if exists, select 1 from table where some column equals some value. Okay. Fair enough. It's actually quite handy. I didn't know about that. Well, I knew about it. I used it. What I did not know was that's actually what I was doing. All right. Okay. Select exists. So the command we're probably going to want. So now that we know what that is, how can we count thought? All right, so let's come back to select 1. Let's use root for an example. So here we have 4 lines. There might be a way to do this in MySQL, but I know how to do this relatively quick. Word count for the number of lines. And with Keystone, it should be 2. So if I take this command, let's just take this part of the command. Let's paste it here. We want to remove the select exists. And still need that. Select one from MySQL user, blah blah blah, and then we want to pipe to word count line. I need a new line here because I'm like one character over the line. That is one downside to the whole 79 character limit, but a rule, well, a rule I've decided to follow is still a rule I've decided to follow. So let's follow it. Thankfully, this is actually pretty easy. So let's just put the quote there, and then new line, and we're done. We're able to do this in Python because of the parentheses. That is a bonus. Now, we want to, not the return code, we want the standard out to equal 2. And then, so there's 2 sets of tests that we're going to have to write ahead of time. Here's the second one: is how do we verify that the privileges are correct? Is there a way for SQL to print back a similar format to the star dot syntax? What was that? Let me go back. Here's Keystone. I don't need that anymore. Yeah, the Keystone dot star. Be nice if we can have it return a similar format. That'd be easier to regex. How can we do that with root? Or using root, or using the MySQL root user as an example. MySQL verify privileges. Show grants for user. Ah, here we go. Let's do that. Show grants. Oh, don't need the word count. Show grants over here for root at local host. I need that, right? Yes. Grant all privileges on star.star to root Bob's your uncle. That maybe not. It's not my uncle, but he's an uncle, and this is working. All right. With that in mind, we should be able to search that output. So let's first define the command. Command equals host.run bam. This is going to be equal -uroot -p-password. I do want to know what is the. Oh, I see. Okay, that's good to know. The SSE. So E ultimately is the SQL syntax. The SQL query. SS is doing silence for me. Let's take a look at that real quick, actually. Come on, where are you? Oh wow, you are hidden. Great googly moogly. Actually, what I could be searching for instead, space dash S. There you are. Silent. Produce less output. This option can be given multiple times. Produce less and less output. This option results in. Okay, good to know. Out of curiosity, what if I only do one? How is that different than double S? It's not. Okay. I can live with that. Can you live with that? I can live with that. All right. Let's go ahead and put the SSE in. That. Let's close it again and put the real closer back in. And show grants for Keystone at localhost. Boom. All right. So our new line thing for, just go ahead and close it here. Bring this in. I'm hitting buttons I shouldn't be. Delete that. Okay. We want to assert a command dot standard out. How do we want to find this? Probably gonna wrap it up in about 8 minutes or so. Let's see how far we can get here. So, Python assert substring. There. Ah, yes. Okay. If blah and blah. Okay. Assert. Actually, assert should be. Yeah. All right. Should be. Sorry. Oop, I'm touching keypads. It's true. We want. Try to think of the better way to do this. 6 to 1 doesn't another. Keystone dot star in there. All right. That should return true or false. That should return true if it's set correctly. So let's take this again. And we want to do the same. Come on. My copy fail. Copy fail. We'll do that. Assert. We need to fix the query as well. Star. And that standard out. And this needs to be percent. All right. Oh, and need a new line at the end of that. So, X out of here. Verify. At the very least, the verify will ensure that our syntax is halfway sane. As to whether or not they'll work, we'll determine that on the converge. Assert 0 equals true. Oh, test. Oops. I forgot. Put Keystone here. And we will instead have the quote close here. New line, quote, for that extra one. and pull that in. That is the annoying part with toying with the new lines, but still could be worse. Where user equals keystone. All's good. Didn't fail there, failed for a different reason, but we're good. And it's 0, so that makes sense. Keystone, that makes sense. Now let's converge. And root the database from Rana. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. Unable to connect to database, check login user and login are correct. Oh, I forgot to put that in there. Thankfully, I think these are the same. So let's put that in. Date present, save, go. And since the database was fine on execution, it should be idempotent. It is. We were good. Verify. These should be successful. Come on, come on. Oh no. Wow, the database method didn't even work either? Oh wait, Keystone. Oh, I think I'm confusing something. Oh. I'm a silly filly. All right. Test OpenStack SQL. Keystone user exists. Let's take this name and write a proper test for the database. Should have done. I had a huge logic leap there and I didn't land. Let's pull this back in. User is Keystone. That's the integer command. Oh. Fair point. This should have been an integer. It's never gonna, even if it matched, it would have failed. And then this should be select one from. Oh, wait. Database. I am all over the place. Here's the database. SQL uroot password use Keystone. And this should equal 0. All right. Let's verify this real quick. The user exists should pass now. It is the one downside between for TDD is you kind of get a bit of a chicken and egg. Check the manual that corresponds to your Marie. Oh, it doesn't like the syntax. Select one from MySQL.user where user equals. Oh, I have an extra parenthesis that doesn't need to be there anymore. One more time. Come on, user exists. The user exists went away. We passed that. That is great. All right. Let's see if we can take a quick look on this. What is going on? Let's see keystone.star and grant usage on start. Oh, so it is going to be a star.star. Wait a minute. Oh, they put the back tick around the keystone. Okay. I can work with that. That's not the worst thing. Assert. Change these guys here. Oh, they look like backticks. All right, one more time. Always one more time. Select 9. Uh-oh. This looks different. Oh, syntax. Wait. What is this erroring on? User privilege. Show grants for keystone assert in where command results. Command equals my son. Oh, it had a standard error. Why did you error? All right. I think this could be a quick fix. I'll go a little long, not by much. This should be this right. Show grants for Keystone at. This was on the plus side. This looks like it's only complaining about the percent. So percent larg. That's expected. Ha. All right, so the percent needs to be surrounded in single quotes. So let's, I expected as much, but I wanted to make sure. Put those in, exit out, let us verify, and wait for that to finish. Verify completed successfully. Awesome. With that, we have the MySQL portion of Keystone ready to go. And we'll be able to move on to the next part of Keystone, which, excuse me, will be to install and configure the components, followed up with actually creating a domain project user's roles. And they have a verify operation. Oh, and creating the open. I'll have to figure out a good way to handle this one. But that was a good session. We made good progress, guys. This is great. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks again for KSpec624 for the follow. Appreciate it. As a reminder, my streams are every Tuesday and Thursday from 7 to 10 p.m. Mountain time zone, and I will be whenever Twitch gives me the notification, I export these videos up to YouTube. You can follow me at YouTube and Twitter. Links to those profiles are down below in the stream description. I also have my blog, automatedbits.com. It's fallen behind a little bit, but I've got some article ideas that I want to write up. Especially they talk about my environment as they stand right now. So hopefully, if you felt lost, I'll try to get that written up as quickly as possible and point you that way. Again, thanks a lot for tuning in. I appreciate it, and I hope you come back again next Tuesday, or really just any time in the future. Until then, have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you next time. Bye.